Today, Apple is carbon neutral for our global corporate operations. Our offices, stores, and data centers run on 100% renewable energy, and we're proud of how far we've come. But by 2030, we plan to have net zero climate impact across our entire business, including our manufacturing supply chain and all product life cycles. This means that every Apple device sold, from material collection, component manufacturing, assembly, transport, customer use, charging, all the way through recycling and material recovery, will be 100% carbon neutral. Many of iPhone 12's environmental features build on our past progress, removing harmful chemicals and using renewable and recyclable materials. And now, for the first time, we're using 100% recycled rare earth elements in all magnets, including the camera, haptics, and MagSafe. We've also been transitioning our iPhone manufacturing partners to renewable energy. And just like we did with Apple Watch, we looked for ways to cut waste and use less material. Customers already have over 700 million Lightning headphones. And many customers have moved to a wireless experience with AirPods, Beats, or other wireless headphones. And there are also over 2 billion Apple Power adapters out in the world. And that's not counting the billions of third-party adapters. So we are removing these items from the iPhone box, which reduces carbon emissions and avoids the mining and use of precious materials. Removing these items also means a smaller, lighter iPhone box. We can fit up to 70% more products on a shipping pallet, reducing carbon emissions in our global logistics chain. Taken all together, the changes we've made for iPhone 12 cut over 2 million metric tons of carbon emissions annually. It's like removing 450,000 cars from the road per year. This is huge, and we're really proud that Apple is taking the lead. We hope others will follow, making this impact even bigger for our planet. Back to you, Cayenne.
Very moving, isn't it? Apple is trying to be carbon neutral, save the environment. I'm going to deconstruct all of that. Let's get into the video. All right, guys, welcome to the video. I really appreciate you being here. If you would, leave a like, hit the sub button. If you're new here, I would be much appreciated. I will say that I am an Android user and that I am not very prone to like Apple in the first place. So there is a tad bit of bias in this view, but I hope that I have a strong enough thought process to make the argument that the guise of the environment being the reason for their shift is not the actual cause, and it's actually just a ploy to play on the consumer. Anyway, rule number one, when you make a product that you're going to sell to customers, I feel like you should give the entire experience so that the person can utilize the product to its fullest extent. Imagine buying a laptop without a charger. Imagine not being able to plug in your laptop to the wall to be able to constantly play on your laptop or use your laptop. I think that's absolutely absurd. I think that standard, that precedence is just really stupid, right? Like, how am I going to charge my laptop if it doesn't come with a wall port, something that I could plug into the wall in order to get more power into the battery? So I think that the move here about not putting a brick inside of the iPhone is really, really stupid. That's the whole point of what I'm getting over. Now, I will say they make a correct argument. Apple makes a correct argument saying that there are hundreds of Lightning port cables out there that use USB-A, that plug into the wall. Fantastic, great. I understand that is out there and that is out there for people. But anybody who's getting a new phone will have to purchase a new one. Anybody that has a damaged one from previous years will have to purchase a new one. Anybody that is trying to switch to iPhone off of Android will have to buy a new one. and thus incurring more cost, incurring more carbon that you have to use as far as plastic and cardboard and all of that for the new stuff that's having to be made. And so the guise of someone buying a phone and then, they just know that everybody else has stuff out there, is, I feel like, a stupid ploy or a stupid decision to make on the company's part. Now, you can flip that on its head, right? So any kind of new customer coming in or anybody that's hoping to replace all that sort of stuff, can be flipped on its head in the fact that you will have to purchase more, right? You will have to buy the phone, which has the standard price, and then you will have to buy a charging cable and a brick that will be on top of said standard price. So on the flip of the head, the business side, hey, you're having to buy new stuff, and that costs more and more and more, which is more revenue for the company itself. But again, under the guise of environment, this is really dumb. And here's why. The iPhone, way back when, 2 or 3 phones ago, or 1 or 2 phones ago, is switched off of the 3.5 millimeter jack, right? They changed everything to the lightning port, and that lightning port had to have a adapter or something to change on every single instance. So if you wanted to have headphone jack, you would have to buy an adapter for that. If you wanted to plug in, HDMI or USB-C or any sort of connection, right? They only had one port on the phone, and that you would have to utilize that port in order to be able to utilize anything else. And so from the standard of trying to save the environment, that's packaging for each one. So cardboard and plastic on every single one of the different items that you're needing to use, all of the different adapters that need to happen. Whereas if you were to incorporate that into your phone, as far as 3.5 millimeter jacks, USB-C jacks, any kind of extra thing that you would think people would most regularly use, if you put any of those directly into your phone, then nobody has to buy all that extra packaging and all that extra cardboard in order to have a little adapter to go from lightning to whatever. And so compounding on top of that, when they switched to the lightning patented connector port, whatever you want to call it. First off, you had these wide ranging ports that all came with different pins. Some were 32, some were 16, some were 64, depending on what type you got, whether you got an iTouch, whether you got an iPhone, 7 or 8 or 10 or whatever. Each one was changing. I mean, most of those are probably going to have lightning ports, but that's not the point. We're not going into a technical analysis of everything. We're ranting here. So when they switched from the 17 pin or whatever into the lightning port, right? The idea of having all of these separate pin connectors is literally ostracizing you from the rest of the world. So I have a Samsung, I have an Android, and I have a USB-C port that I plug into said Android, and I can plug into the wall. Anybody, meaning Motorola, HTC, Samsung, any Android phone that has a USB-C connector can charge their phone with my charger. Universally. Different manufacturers all use the same type of connection, and they're all utilized. So when I buy one charger, it has infinite uses across all devices. If I buy lightning connector, I can only do Apple products. So literally Apple is standing aside by themselves, forcing everybody to have a separate type of connector that can only be utilized with their products, meaning that the universality of their charging mechanism is zero. Universality means everything, right? It's zero, right? You literally can't use it on anything else. And therefore, by putting yourself aside and making your stuff have a separate port or a separate thing that only your device can use, you are forcing every company that makes charging cords to have to make a separate product, thus pulling more out of the ground, thus making them have to make more stuff, as far as packaging, as far as the device itself, as far as shelf space, as far as everything that goes into having a physical product have to be made. They couldn't just make a USB-C that, translated across all sorts of different devices. They had to use their lightning port so that they were different, and that would cause them to be set aside, I guess, or whatever. You know, don't even get me started on any of the features that come through that have been around for a really, really, really long time. Don't get me started on that. Now, there is something to be said that if technology is advancing forward, the first iteration is always the roughest, but the second or third iteration of that technology is usually much more efficient, much better, more usable, more friendly, all that sort of stuff. So I will say that there is some smart moves in being more reliable on their product when they come out with it. But on the flip side, you're also 4 or 5 years behind everybody else as far as capabilities, as far as being able to do certain things, wireless charging, different Wi-Fi standards, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 5, all that sort of stuff. They're behind time and time again. Pixel resolution on the different stuff. So on and so forth. There are many other phones that have many more capabilities than what Apple does, but Apple does put out a solid product. So back to the environmental, the first part of the rant that I was going on about. Since you're setting yourself aside, you're causing everybody to have to make more and have separate products just for you to be able to do it. That compounded upon the idea of removing the 3.5 millimeter jack and having everybody have to pay for a little adapter, which again, more resources, more things for an unnecessary product that is put upon your environment in order for you to actually work. And then to sit here in front of our faces and put the guys out that you are working for the environment and we're trying to be carbon neutral and we're trying become universally acceptable across your other devices. And then you will actually have an impact. You won't have to have all of these separate instances of having to get this separate cord or this separate adapter in order to work with your device. Like you're being frustratingly stubborn in the fact that you want to use your patented little technology that you won't let other people have. So, either one, go to USB-C and everybody can use USB-C, and then we'll actually have an impact where we won't be making as many chargers, but you'll lose your profit margin. But guess what? It's for the environment, so give or take, you know what I'm saying? So stop being so greedy and then take, give some back so that we can actually work together, or let everybody else have your Lightning patent and maybe, pay you a little bit to be able to use the patent or whatever. And then we all across the board can all plug in with the same thing. Tell you the truth, it's all hog. That's not really a word. Anyway, there's the point of the entire argument is if we're all trying to work together to save the environment, then we all need to work together and not try to be standalone people. And then on the flip side, I feel like it's a competitive market. And if you want to stand alone and stand aside and cause people to have to pay for more, to cause people to get your profit margins up because they have to pay for new adapters for a different type of technology for blah, 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 and it causes them to have to pay for more things, then that's fine. Don't hide behind the guise of trying to say that you're going carbon neutral. Truth is, it's all just horse. Now that's a real word. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting. I think I've done justice on my rant. I really think it's really stupid for you to put out that you're trying to be carbon neutral and carbon when you're forcing a consumer to buy different products just based off of the technology that you put inside of your machine. So either one, actually, buck up and go behind the words that you were saying, or stop this in front of my face. That's all I got to say. Guys, if you like the video, think about hitting the like, hit the sub button. That's my stance. If you have a different one, think about hitting a comment down below. I'd love to talk to you about it. Maybe you can persuade me. But what I see right now in front of me, of course, like I said, might be a little bit biased, is we're causing more consumption of plastics and carbon and all that sort of stuff while throwing it in the face of the consumer that we are being more environmentally friendly when you're causing the entire, when you're saying one thing and doing it different. And I hate the double standard that's being presented, so I can't back it up. Anyway, this has been a rant of Football Freak 215. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. I play video games a lot on Twitch. If you want to come by and talk to me about anything, that would be great. I am out. I will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.